Hey, beloved, we're back again for more. Hey, beloved, we're back again to talk about what makes you lovable from a personality perspective. Because I want to know, what do you tend to prefer? Would you call yourself as being someone who prefers to plan more, or someone who likes to be more spontaneous, like to go with the flow, like to weigh your options? Because whichever perspective you tend to lead with, you both have value. And we need people who run the spectrum of different preferences to make the world a more beautiful, more complex, more exciting space. So, if we haven't met yet, hi, I'm Courtney Louie. I'm the creator behind Coffee Chats and Yoga Mats, and I'm so excited that you decided to click play while you're scrolling through or joining me in other ways. So today, I thought we'd talk about another piece of the Myers-Briggs Typology Indicator, mouthful, MBTI, personality theory. And last week we talked about extroversion and introversion. So I thought this week we'd talk to the end of the acronym to judging and perceiving. So briefly, before we get too far, I want to do a quick recap about what personality is and what it isn't, because it's so important. So I like my Merriam-Webster in dictionary.com. So personality is a combination of characteristics or qualities that form an individual's distinctive character. So you could also call it your nature, your disposition, your temperament, your persona, your psyche, your identity, whatever it is. From Coffee Chats and Yoga Mats perspective, as God's beloved, it's important to embrace that you have a God-given personality. As other personality experts have described it, your personality is not intended to be used as a weapon or as a shield. It's never an excuse not to grow, but it is a gift that you've been given by God to use. And I think a big thing, so many of us, me as well, struggle with is realizing that our personality, those traits, those preferences are actually a gift that we can really leverage well to have a more intentional, passionate, purposeful life, and also to serve others more. And that's really exciting, right? So we're going to go and talk about judging and perceiving. I'm using the Myers-Briggs typology indicator system. I already said that, sorry, to walk through it. And so kind of the question that when it comes to judging and perceiving is, do you want freedom or organization? And to back it up a little bit, literally, so when we talk about these different preferences, it's really a spectrum. Rarely does someone totally they just live in the judging world all the time, or perceiving. You need to use both. And we could talk about that another time about cognitive functions. But just something to remember that likely you'll fall on a spectrum. And it may vary depending on your environment. So, for instance, at work, you may find yourself leaning more into judging, let's say judging system, more that way. But at home, you might be a little bit more perceiving, maybe a little bit more go with the flow. And it depends on your environment too. It doesn't mean your personality is not the same across your different environments. You might lean more into one or the other depending on the environment. Just a little super, amp up those muscles. So I'm going to talk you through what that means, judging perceiving, because I keep talking those words. And I thought I'd share a little bit about what it could look like. So a big thing that, there's so many stereotypes about personality. And the idea is often we tend to think about, if you're a judger, you're just hardcore, you're super organized, everything's super tidy. And if you're a planner or perceiver, you're all over the place. Your place is a mess. You never show up. And there's an element, tiny kernel of truth in each of those, but it's not all across the spectrum. So the cool thing is, if you lead with judging preferences, you tend to organize your outer world to allow inner world freedom. Having an organized external world helps you better process what's going on in your head and heart. I'm going to see briefly if I can share my screen. I'll take a little bit of time, and if we can't make it happen, no worries. We'll do that another time, right? I don't see an easy way to do that, so we're going to have fun. So, for instance, as a judger, you may think better when your office space, when your bedroom is carefully organized and thrive more with a meticulously crafted schedule. Or it may be more flexible. Again, it depends on what it looks like, but you may thrive more with having a schedule, with having more set routines of how you live your life. If you lead with perceiving, this is sarcasm, yeah, you tend to have a highly organized internal world of thoughts and feelings. Since you have such an organized mind, you don't necessarily find it as important to organize your external world. So that's kind of cool, right? So as a perceiver, you may find more creativity in an office that isn't carefully organized. and thrive with lots of spontaneity and unplanned time in your schedule. So hopefully it's clear neither perspective is right or wrong. They're just different and they both have so much value to offer to each other. I'm going to pull up another article I'm going to read from it just because I want to get the words right. And I'll share that in the links. But just pay attention which one you tend to lead with. So people with judging preferences want things to be neat, orderly, and established. We'll walk it through that. We are using judging when we make a list of things to do, schedule things in advance, form and express judgments, bring closure to an issue so that we can move on. And then when we use the perceiving preferences, want things to be flexible and spontaneous. They want things to be open-ended. So we tend to use perceiving when we postpone decisions to see what other options are available, act spontaneously, decide what to do as we do it, rather than forming a plan ahead of time, and do things at the last minute. And just like this fabulous article that they're talking about, we use both. You might end up living more in one camp than the other, and that's great. So a few things that you might want to think about if you lead with judging. We're all about love this month, okay? I mean, really love all the time. But so what's lovable about you as someone who leads with judging is you also often tend to move things forward. You're pretty great about closing up loose ends. So rather than leaving people in, or even yourself, in this weird floating place of undecidedness, you're ready and willing to go ahead and tie it up and so you can be settled and at rest. And you offer peace to people that way. It's something that's very unique to you. You also tend to likely schedule things in advance. And so that also can be very peace giving. Knowing that you find more peace with having a game plan, you know what's up ahead, you can prepare more mentally for it. That also can provide an element of peace and excitement by the people as they look forward to things. And again, just remember this planning, excuse me, I keep calling that judging preference is a gift. It's something that is inherently wired in you. And another thing that those who lead with perceiving, remember, they tend to be more spontaneous, more adaptable. And a lot of things for perceivers is that they like to keep things open and they want to really evaluate all their options before they move forward and make a decision. So they do a lot of research, they do a lot of collecting information, that's kind of the same thing. And it may seem to those who lead with judging, i.e., me, that those decisions may take so long to make, but often when they come to the decision or the next step they want to do, it's crazy well thought out. And they're ready because they've got the information they need to move forward. So the cool thing about perceivers is they also encourage others, especially judges, to be more adaptable, to not be so bottom line focused and that things have to be settled. That really a great quote for them is the joy is in the journey. And it's about that journey, you're going on that destination, you're figuring things out, and you don't have to worry as much about where you arrive as long as you're growing along the way and also enjoying the journey. So another great thing that if you lead with perceiving, you're probably apt to be more spontaneous. Now, it may vary. For instance, maybe you will jump on a plane and, I don't know, fly to Bali. But maybe that also means you're like, all right, let's go for an ice cream date. Or you just can add some really fun things that are less set in your ways where you might be more adaptable and encourage others to be more adaptable and have some more fun and not always have to have things planned out. So again, just like shared with the judges, those who lead with judging, if you lead with perceiving, that is a God-given gift. And we need you in this world to add your spontaneity, to have that open-endedness, to keep us grooving and flowing. No matter where you fall on the spectrum of those preferences, again, like we talked about, it may be different in your home life, your work life, your church life, just add in all the buckets of life. But we need you. And you offer something unique. And then we add in all the other facets of your personality, and it's just a crazy cool combination of things. So I could fangirl about this a lot longer. But just a reminder, if you lead with judging, you tend to like loose ends tied up. If you're perceiving it, you tend to keep loose ends because you don't like things tied up. That's kind of funny, huh? So next week, I'm going to take a little pause and we'll actually talk about what changes when you embrace who you are as God.